Hey everyone, today I'm going to explain about critical hit bonus. I'll try to keep this as brief as possible and get right to the points. So I'm going to open my equipment menu here and you'll find your critical hit bonus right up top here. That is the percent chance that your hit will be a critical hit. Now a critical hit is a hit that does 50% more damage. So if you were going to hit a 2000, a critical hit would be a 3000. 50% of the 2000 added on. And it's not to say that you're always going to hit that high. Some critical hits can be 800s. And those are the large number pop-ups that you'll see. They're not regular hit splats. So regardless, a critical hit is extra damage, 50% extra damage than it was going to be. So you want to try to have a good critical hit bonus. Some standard items that are going to give you critical hit bonus are your necklaces or amulets, your rings, and your capes. So in a fire cape, you have a 2.2, this is melee critical, specific to melee. With the Dragonstone ring, these are imbued rings. I don't think this gives criticals when it's not imbued, but the warrior ring gives a 2.7 when it's not imbued. The imbued gives a 3. So we'll put that one on. We'll put our fury, which gives 4.2 critical to all. And so now you see with those three items I'm up to 9.4, and those are fairly standard items. So fairly affordable. Fire Cape, a lot of people have it nowadays. Even a lot of people have the Talkar Call, which gives 0.2% more. This almost puts us up to a 10% critical, which means slightly less than 10% or 1/10, 1 out of 10 of our hits will be critical hits. So every 10 hits you can expect one of them to be a critical hit. The higher your critical hit percentage, the better. Armor has been removed from amulets to help you make the choices on what amulets to use based on critical, so you're not too worried about defense. That has been redistributed to armor. I don't have a helmet, body, shield, legs. Well, shield we'll get to. Legs, boots, gloves, because they're not going to add critical. Now, as far as the weapons go, I've got Bando's Godsword, which here is a powerful weapon. Damage is 1,713. I've got some dual chaotics. Chaotic Longsword and Chaotic Rapiers have been standardized. They're the same speed, same damage output. It's just a matter of Rapier being stab and Longsword being slash. Now, moving down to slightly lower level weapons, the Dragon Weaponry. All Dragon Weaponry should be about the same DPS, damage per second, because that's in the level 60 class range. So I've got the dual Dragon Scimitars right here, and you see they're speed fastest. Now the whip is also speed fastest, and it's slightly more than the Dragon Scimitar. So we're going to put one of these on and show you by comparison. The damage here is in green, 672, which means it's higher than the current weapon I have on. This one is 576, which means it's lower than the current weapon I have on. So, weapons generally do not give critical. However, there are a few that do. And I'm going to get to this. Now I'm searching on my bank instead of just going directly to them, so you see I just have one of each. I'm not like already pre-having them in my inventory. I don't want you to think I'm trying to merchant Dragon Claws, or there's none in my GE here, or anything. I don't care if they go up or down. I'm using these for the sake of explaining in this video. Now, the Dragon Claws, both claws have a critical percent. The main hand has a 0.8, and the offhand has a 0.7. So, say you can't use a Chaotic yet. So you're using Dragon Scimitar, or even you're using a whip. Now, the Dragon Claws are the same stats as Scimitars. 576 on main hand, 576. However, they have a critical bonus. So, going from the 672 to 576 of a whip, it's about 100 damage less. However, with that critical percent, that could make a difference. That is almost 1 entire percent, and you may think about 1% or less isn't much, but it will definitely add up. So if you're in this lower, mid, no, not quite low, but mid to semi-high level range on your attack, can't quite use a god sword or just don't want to, because personally a weapon with 1700 damage, that is basically for something that you need to do hard damage when you hit. For stuff like Slayer and training your combat stats up, faster weapons generally are preferred, because if the monster has a tenth of its life points left, that tenth might be like 400. Not very much, or less. So you don't need a weapon that can do 1700 damage to hit a 400. So you see my point on where the fast weaponry will come in very handy for your combat training needs. So the dual chaotics are very nice, but so let's say you can use a whip and you want to use an offhand item. You could actually get an offhand Dragon Claw and mix and match, and so now you've just added to your critical bonus. I do have my Comp Cape here just to show you that it gives more critical, and so you can kind of compensate with different items to kind of like bump up to match me. Like I would personally be using double chaotics with Comp Cape, so that would put me at 10.2. However, you in your Takar Kal with even say let's one chaotic and an offhand Dragon Claw put you at 10.3. Not to say that critical bonus is the only determining factor, but it is definitely a good thing to have. The higher chance that you will hit a critical hit, 50% extra damage, the more chance that you're going to do better overall in the combat situation, whether it be fighting for a boss or just slaying in general, trying to get your task over, trying to get your training on with. If you're hitting constant 200s versus 200, 200, 500, 200, 200, 500, or whatever the hits may be, it wouldn't be actually a 500 if it was 200 to be a 300. It'd be 200, 200, 300 every so often. So the higher your critical chance, the better. And so say you don't have the chaotic, you're on the whip, you can do the offhand Dragon Claw, but honestly from the whip to the main hand Dragon Claw is not that much of a step down to have that extra boost in the critical hit percent. People seem to think that Dragon Claws are nerfed. I seem to think that with this critical bonus it does make a nice difference. People also say that because there's no Dragon Claw spec, you can't use Dragon Claws for the spec anymore. I strongly disagree. You can go from the two-handed Godsword, and right here, this is basically the old Dragon Claw spec, dealing 188% weapon damage over 6 seconds. Now, if you remember, the old Dragon Claw spec was whatever your first number hit, that would be then hit again over the next 3 numbers. And if you didn't know that, you know that now. So if your first Dragon Claw hit was a 400, your next 3 numbers were going to add up to a 400, which would be an 800 total. 188% weapon damage is almost 200% damage, which is doubled what your normal damage was about to be. So this is basically the new Dragon Claw spec, or old Dragon Claw mix match. Now you see it has a crossed weapon with a 2x. That means you need a two times weapon. I can't do this with a single-handed weapon or a two-handed weapon. So I could be hitting stuff with my Godsword, and I want to do this nice threshold ability here. I can even do the ultimate ability, Frenzy, which also requires dual-wielded weapons. This is rather powerful. The target will take 20% of its maximum life points every 2 seconds. So if a boss has, say, 10,000 HP, I'm pretty sure there are more than that, but just for the sake of this explanation, 20% of that is 2,000. So it will be 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. That's what it's going to hit. It's not a chance to hit that. That's exactly what it will hit. So this is a rather powerful ultimate ability, and even this threshold ability is very nice. So you could be killing stuff with your Godsword, pop on your 2 claws, and now you see this ability has the 2x lit up. If I had enough adrenaline and was in combat, I could then do this ability, hit my nice numbers, and then switch back to my Godsword for powerful accuracy and main hand damage, which I will see here. So, I hope this has helped you some, or a lot, understanding critical hit bonus. It is important. You do want to have a decent critical hit. People have asked me why I'm hitting so high when they're wearing the same or very similar gear as me, and I ask them what their critical hit bonus is, and they tell me something like 3%. So, it's important. Make sure you pay attention to your critical hit bonus. Good luck with everything, guys. Give me a like if this helped you and you liked it. Subscribe for plenty more EOC videos and plenty of videos and guides in general, and have a great day.